mama's done wiping your rear. Well, you made it all right, sir, but I won't spend my life, sir, crying these cocksucking tears. Looks like your enjoyment went on unemployment. There you are with your rose begging you. So you lost all your magic. You think that it's tragic that no one will come cry for you. Well, your sexisms are broken record. Been screeching for 10,000 years. And the battle's begun, sir. I tell you I'm done, sir, crying these cocksucking tears. The battle's begun, sir. I tell you I'm all done, sir, crying these cocksucking tears.
Some people call it courage. I prefer the term rabid, because that's certainly where I was, and very angry. Most of us were angry. I think the anger was probably the bottom line emotion that spurred us all on. Everybody, including me, who was involved, especially in the early 70s, was taking a real big risk. I'd been kicked out of the Peace Corps for being gay. I ended up in a mental institution. I spent from 1970 to 1978 jobless and unemployed because nobody would hire me, because my mouth was so big about the issue. All of us knew that we were potentially sacrificing our life. I had more than one personal friend in the early 70s murdered.
Waltzing well was soft and sweet. The way he waltzed was to his feet. For a psychiatrist to think was fitting. So they said, hey son, we think we should sneak you a slug, a raw manhood. The state hospital's just the place to get one. Now they call him a queer sickie.
There was no genre in music willing to accept gay music. So it didn't matter. We were going to be out no matter what genre we chose. We were desperate to get out valid information about who we were. And the album allowed us to distribute information everywhere to anybody who would order it. I'm sure there were more than a few hundred people who ordered copies of Lavender Country who kept it secret, who couldn't show it in Lincoln, Nebraska, or Pierre, South Dakota, or Bloomington, Indiana. They couldn't show their parents. They couldn't show anybody. They hid it in their bedroom, but they ordered it and they listened to it. The reactions went the whole spectrum. There were people who came to us in tears because they loved Lavender Country so much. And there were people who were outraged that we had enough nerve to do it. And there were people who were astonished and unaccepting of the fact that something like gay country music even had a right to exist. But we didn't care about that. We only cared about the people who cried.
That's where every Sue and Hannah rise in queer nirvana, because there's lesbians under every bush and tree. So
Y'all come out and make yourself to fall. I'm 70. I'm not very impressed by fame anymore. It's elusive and it doesn't really mean much. To think that Lavender Country is going to outlive me that's the real juice, that's the real joy, that's the real profoundness, that's what I really love. When we made Lavender Country, and for decades, the only people who could respond to it were gay people. It was very difficult for straight people to listen to it, but not anymore. You don't need to be gay to understand Lavender Country. You just need not to have your head up your butt about human sexuality. Is it an artifact or is it alive? It's both. It is an artifact, and issues that were confronting the lesbian gay community in the early 70s were much more intense than they might be now, but they were the same issues. I believe that the album resonates now maybe more than ever. It still has meaning. It don't matter here who you love or what you wear, 'cause we don't care who's got what from the song. Let's see, what story am I going to tell first? Okay, I'm ready. Good afternoon, comrades. I'd like to thank the Pinhook for putting on this Lavender Country Appreciation Show. It's quite an honor. Behind me are the beautiful Olympic Mountains. You might have heard of the Olympic National Park. Well, there it is. That's where I grew up. That's my homeland over there. On the left side, just past the last mountain, behind the tree. That's where my folks ran a tenant dairy farm. My mom, my dad, my 10 brothers and sisters, in a 3-bedroom house. Let me start out the story by saying I was a catastrophe at farming. And when I ran my dad's tractor into an alder tree and it blew up, when I was about 10 years old. My dad took me off the tractor and put me on a garden hoe. It wasn't punishment, it was just to save my life. And he was right. I didn't belong on his tractor, and I didn't belong on the farm either. I was bad at it. Long about the time I was 12, my dad said, "Sonny boy, you got to go to college. You can't stay here in this valley or you're going to starve to death." So they put me on a college-bound track. And my parents didn't have any money. So I had to figure out how to get through college myself. And one of the ways to do that was to get a scholarship. And I belonged to the 4-H club. And so my parents put together an opportunity for me to compete in a statewide demonstration about dairy products, since my folks were dairy farmers. So the 4-H competition came up, and 300 people throughout the state signed up to compete for the demonstration. 299 girls and me. And I was off to win a scholarship. It was a nice scholarship, $400. So my folks put together a whole thing to have me go off and win a scholarship. And the competition was in stages, and you had to win one level to go to the next level. And I started winning these competitions, competing against all these girls. And newspaper kept putting my name in the paper, and my dad's name, and about how I was winning against all these girls. And the Royal Ladies Auxiliary Garden Club in Victoria, British Columbia, which was nearby, just a ferry ride away, found out about me, and they wanted me to come to Victoria to do my demonstration. Queen Elizabeth had just ascended the throne, and so I was in the kitchen and practicing my demonstration with my mom, and we were trying to figure out what you do if you say Queen Elizabeth in Canada. And I had Queen Elizabeth as part of my demonstration because she was eating some kind of cheese tray that we read about in the Saturday Evening Post. So Queen Elizabeth was in my demonstration, and we were trying to figure out what I was supposed to do if I said Queen Elizabeth in Canada. And we were discussing whether I was supposed to bow or curtsy, or what a bow was and what a curtsy was. And my dad walked in the room and we were discussing this, and he said, "What's going on in here?" And my mom said, "Well, we're trying to figure out the difference between a bow and a curtsy, but he says Queen Elizabeth and he's going to Canada, and we're not sure what we're supposed to do." And my dad said, "Okay, look here. I've been putting up with the pictures in the paper and him in his apron and competing against all the girls and all that. I'm fine. I've been rolling with it. I got no problem. But I got one thing to tell you, Mama, right now. He is not going to curtsy to the goddamn Queen. He's not going to do that." My mom said, "Well, Charlie, he's got to do something. Queen Elizabeth just ascended the throne." And my dad said, "Last call. He's not going to curtsy to the goddamn Queen, Mama." My dad was Irish and an anti-capitalist and a union man. And that was the one time in my sissiness that my dad drew the line and said no. He's not gonna curtsy to the goddamn Queen. Well, we went on and won a few more contests and got my picture in the paper a few more times and embarrassed my dad because his name was in the paper with mine, along with all the girls that I had beat out. And I went to the state contest, and I was perfect little darling. And I won this. I won the scholarship. I beat out the 299 girls. And when I got home late at night, my dad was already in bed, and my mom said, "Well, go tell your dad what happened." And I woke him up and said, "Dad, I won the $300." He said, "You did? You won the whole state contest?" I said, "Yeah, I won it. I took it, the whole thing, and I won the $300. And he said, "Well, I guess if you found a way to beat the women at their own game, you'll get by somehow in this life."
Then it was Faglabib Miriam's turn. Then it was Cassius Jones' turn. Then it was D. Carl Harder's turn. And on and on and on. My heroic Stonewall comrades were falling dead in front of me. All of them screaming about gay rights till their last breath. Those are the fallen heroes. Mia, can we cry a minute for our fallen heroes? I was a slut. I didn't know how I would survive. It turned out there were scientific reasons for that, but I didn't know what they were. You want to talk about survivor's guilt? Oh, I can talk about it for quite a while. You want to talk about from the heart, missing true love? Yeah, I can talk about that too. Those were hard times. But I wrote a happy song about it. I'm going to sing it now for you. Bobby pulled me out of the hole, about twice a month, from crashing and burning over the last what's his name that I had an affair with, and all the time he was pulling me out of the hole. So this is a song about Bobby pulling his girlfriend out of the hole from another crash and burn love affair. That's what he did. Here we go. You're drooping like a weeping willow. You got that long face on her, you still crying in your pillow. 'Cause your man done up and gone. You haven't shaved in days. You look listless and depressed. You're either sleeping or you're in a huff, staring at the wall and sitting on your duff. Your eyes are puffy and your nose stuffed up. Girlfriend, you're just a mess. Did he throw you for a loop-de-loop? Did he take you for a ride? Did the landing skip my hide right off? You're gonna go backside. Why is it twirl you higher than a kite without a line? Did it hit you like a hammer when the glamour turned to flim-flam and the glitter turned to bitter trips of Valentine? Oh, did it hit you like a hammer when the glamour turned to flim-flam and the glitter turned to bitter trips of Valentine? You're driven like a weeping willow. Don't you think it's time to quit this silly bawling? Like a newborn longhorn calf without a tit. You've been zoned out long enough. Have one good cry and then When your last tears go splish, splash, splash, dump that bum into the past. Drop the Kleenex in the trash. Let's go chase us up some men. Oh, come on now, you're either sleeping or you're in a huff. Staring at the wall and sitting on your duff. Your eyes are puffy and your nose stuffed up. Girlfriend, you're just a mess. Find a life, we've been rolled out. Don't you think it's time you quit this silly ball? Like a newborn longhorn calf without a tit. You've been zoned out long enough. Have one good cry of them. When your last tears go splish, splash, splash, dump the bum into the past. Drop the Kleenex in the trash. Let's go chase us up some men. Oh, come on now, you're either sleeping or you're in a house. Staring at the wall and sitting on your duff. Your eyes are puffy and your nose stuffed up. Girlfriend, you're just a mess.
Hi, I'm Trixie Mattel. I'm in Seattle at the Gibson showroom, and I'm here with my friend Patrick Haggerty from Lavender Country.
Hi.
How old are you?
I'm 75. Don't I look fabulous?
Yeah, you do. You do. You could have been my grandpa.
I could have been.
Well, you would have had to be with women, so I guess you couldn't have been my grandpa.
Well,
Have you been with
know,
women? Maybe? Oh. Just this woman right now. Did you learn the piano?
No, I was too busy working on the farm to learn much of anything else.
Well, I was gonna say, piano's sort of a rich kid instrument.
Yeah.
Like, that's why poor kids play guitars. It's 6 strings.
Exactly.
It's a tissue box with rubber bands on it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I know it's my song, blah, blah, blah.
I know.
But no, this is your vision. This is your baby. I'm here to do what I'm told.
I'd really like a foot rub.
Ask my husband.
Should we go in here?
Yes.
That's the stuff.
I wrote I Can't Shake the Stranger Off Out of You the day after the exact sexual encounter that I'm just described to you.
So the sex was good.
The sex was fabulous.
Some backstory to the song, the sex was good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I stacked them up like cornwood, honey.
I don't blame you.
You're looking at the queen of the bathhouse sluts.
Oh my God.
The original title of Stranger was I Can't F the Stranger Out of You.
I Can't Shake the Stranger, it paints a picture. Definitely paints a more intense picture, but...
Yeah. You know, you're a songwriter.
Yes.
Some of them take you months or even years to write. I wrote I Can't Shake the Stranger Out of You in like 10 minutes.
I always say that the best songs, they just fall right out. I f***ing love that song. It's so beautiful. I mean, I'm 30 years old. You know, I've like been dating for like 10 years, whatever. Even though that's an older song, to me, it is just extremely relevant. I hate to tell you, gay guys are still not famous for like being the most emotionally available people.
You know this.
So, they all want to have sex, but nobody actually wants to feel anything or look each other in the eye or learn people's names. And that's why when I first heard this song, I was just like, it sounds like it could have been written yesterday. I gotta tell you, the first time I heard it, I just was like obsessed with it. I've heard it 1,000 times. I love it. I just was married to it the first time I heard it.
You chose well if you wanted to do a song with me. It's the one.
For today's date. Was this from you? Thank you
This
for
is
coming.
yours.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Listen, I really love this song, Shirley.
Thank you.
You're just another queer man. Trixie Mattel is just another queer. Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Your next hit.
I see you stepping high with your tight blue jeans on, strutting like a button-down paragon. And I reckon you looking for some necking, yes I do. Climb right up into my manger, but let me warn you about one small danger, babe. And I can't shake the stranger out of you.
I see you pressing and preening as smooth as you can. You're hotter than the popcorn dancing in the pan. Out to capture a chunk of rapture with someone new. I can hit the sack like an aristocrat if you're looking for a trick in a box of crack or jack. But I can't shake the stranger out of you.
Not of you, not of you. Out of you. Out of you. Out of you. Out of you. You're a romping bronco, I must admit, stomping while your lips are chomping at the bit. Sure, I'll kiss you, but who's gonna miss you when you're chasing midnights through? Be glad to be your one-shot pleasure, even leave you grieving at your own leisure, babe. But I can't shake the stranger out of you. Not of you, not of you, not of you. Not of you, not of you. Out of you.
So you're hot to trot for the next buckaroo who's got the stuff to put a saddle on you, ride you higher in the fires of desire than you ever knew. All your favorite fantasies will come to an end. We'll be waking up tomorrow needing a friend, 'cause I can't shake a stranger out of you.
Not of you, not of you, not of you. Not of you, not of you, not of you.
That was great.
For when there won't be no straight men, 'cause you all have a common disease. Can't give very much.
And see what do you think of my lavender cowboy hat?
Don't wrap the story, tell me the glorious Galahad scallop is near. But your lies can't deceive me, and know that you'll leave me riding these here. But now you have guessed that I'm not to impress with your talents as an engineer.
Anybody who's like gay and is in country music, we all are like, oh yeah, him. He's lit. He did it at a time where, at least now, if you say you're a little gay, you can maybe get some buzz on the social media. He wasn't getting buzz. He was getting unemployment for 10 years. He was getting threatened. He was getting kicked out of clubs. I mean, he couldn't even find music gigs, which is crazy.
I think most people in our genre really understand how important it is. Everybody I know who's playing country, queer country music, knows Lavender Country and respects them.
Your victories ain't wanted, long as I'm haunted with crying these cocksucking tears. Sharing and caring, is it quite daring?
It was a community of folks who produced Lavender Country in the first place. I could have never made Lavender Country on my own. Are you kidding? A socialist-leaning, revolutionary, gay country album made solely by me? It's absurd. But the thing that I really want people to remember is that the Stonewall movement was full of radicals, such as myself. We were all over the place. I wasn't the only one. There were hundreds of us, thousands of us, with a radical perspective in the Stonewall movement. People were feeding me issues to write about as we made the album. I had my trepidations about using the word myself.
I'm fighting for when there won't be no straight men, 'cause you all have a common disease. Can't give very much for loving and such, but you take it wherever you please.
It's almost like he's using their words. Like, oh, don't worry, don't feel too much for me. I'm just a right? That's sort of the vibe. Is like, this is real feelings, real hurt, and it's sort of your word.
Crying These Tears did influence one of the songs on my new album. I never thought I could write a song about sex, like gay sex in a country song, but that song was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. Why not?
Can't deceive me and know that you'll leave me riding these tears.
It was exactly the right word for what I was trying to say. Look, you guys, you're making me cry and feel rotten about myself because I sucked you. It was like all of a sudden everybody's light bulbs turned on, and they got past the fact that I wrote a song called Tears and got into the meat of the material of what we were trying to say back then.
he really checked me. I was like, it's hard. I produce my own albums and I really want them to sell, and I have to promote them and tour. And he was like, great. When I was coming out, my friends were getting beat up by police and no one would say anything because they were gay. This is a story from a time where things were really different.
There's a certain amount of fear of being a gay communist loudmouth activist. When I made Lavender Country, I wasn't afraid of that because I was already out and I was already exposing myself to the culture at large. Today, running around the country, singing gay country stuff in the face of the politic that we're living in, I'm probably more afraid now than I ever was. So what, big deal? So I'm afraid. Whoopie-doo. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, let's go. Okay, this next story is about children. I was lousy at farming, but I had my talents. And one of my talents was taking care of toddlers. And there were a lot of toddlers in my childhood. I spent probably half of the time between age 10 and 21 with a toddler on my hip. I was taking care of kids. And I was good at taking care of kids. And it was a talent that my parents respected. So I did that a lot. So when I was 21 years old, I joined the Peace Corps and I went to India. And I spent about a year in India before I got kicked out for sucking dick. 1966. India was a really poverty-stricken country, and one of the things that was really difficult for me to take was beggar children. Children that were like dull-eyed, and you could see their rib cages, and they were like half the size they were supposed to be, and they were starving to death, and they were begging and half dead. And they would come to our house to beg, and if you gave in to one of them the next morning, you had like 50 starving children at your front door begging. It was an impossible situation, and it was very, very difficult to be a lover of children in India, watching them starve to death and not being able to do anything about it. It was like, it tore me up, okay? It was really hard to handle. 3 years later, maybe about 4 years later, I was in Cuba, and I had an afternoon off, and I decided to go to a village across the cane field that I wanted to visit. And I was by myself, and I approached this village, and it looked, for the life of it, it looked like an Indian village. It had palm trees and dirt roads and thatched roofs and mud walls, and it looked just like an Indian village. And I started approaching the village, and out came the kids, about 20 of them, running toward me. The first thing I noticed was these kids were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and happy and height weight appropriate, and their ribs weren't sticking out. It was early in the revolution, and the kids surrounded me, and they were talking about dinero, which means money. And I thought the kids were begging for money, and that was all right. I could handle that. I was used to the Indian kids running up to me begging for money, and the revolution was young, and I knew that the money was in short supply in Cuba. So it was okay with me that these kids were begging for money because they were at least healthy. So dinero, well, I didn't have any money because we weren't allowed to take money to Cuba on this particular project that I was in. So I was trying to tell the kids I didn't have any money, and they kept saying dinero. Finally, the teacher from the school walked out with a big smile on his face, and he said, "You think these kids are begging you for money, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, but it's all right. The revolution is young. I know that money's in short supply. I've been to India. I'm okay with this. I just don't have any money." And he got a big grin on his face, and he said, "Buddy, you don't speak Spanish, do you?" And I said, "No, I don't." And he said, "You got this all twisted. These kids are not begging you for money. These kids know you're from the Vince Ramos Brigade because we've taught them that. And they know that you're an American here to help the Cuban Revolution because we've taught them that. And they know you don't have any money because we taught them that too. And they also know that you're going to Santa Clara this weekend. And they also know that Santa Clara is the ice cream capital of Cuba. And these kids are not trying to beg you for money. They're trying to give you money so you'll have money to buy ice cream in Santa Clara. Do you get it?" I sat down on a rock and I bawled my eyes out and I said, "That's it. I'm a socialist revolutionary, and I'm a socialist revolutionary till the day I die. And I don't care what book you want me to read or don't read, or what you have to say about it or not say about it. I'm for a society that feeds and nurtures its children, okay? That's who I am. That's what I'm for. I don't want to see any more starving children." And there are not starving children in Cuba, and there are starving children in the Bronx and Jersey City and in Covina and all over Los Angeles. I'm for a society that feeds its children. That's the end of that story.
It's not about whether you're attracted to women or men. It's not about that. That's incidental. That's an accident of birth. There's probably a few straight men here. Brendan, it's not your fault. You were born that way. Right? It's not your fault. Nobody should be faulted for the circumstances of their genetics or their birth. And I'm not going to fault you either. I can't help it if you came out wrong, you know. It's a sad story, but you know, you maybe have other talents. It's about if you're white and if you're a male and you only put your penis in a vagina instead of all the other wonderful places that a penis can go, for some magical reason, if you do that, that means you're entitled to more shit than everybody else. I'm fighting for when there won't be ain't no straight men, 'cause you all have a common disease. Can't do very much for loving and such, but you take it wherever you please. You all wrap a story, tell me that glorious gala has gala business. But your lies can't deceive me, I know that you'll leave me crying these cocksucking tears. By now you have guessed that I'm not too impressed with your talents as an engineer. You build up your steeple and you rivet more people to keep it erect in the air. It seems you've forgotten, your daydreams are rotten, your ways are alarmingly clear, and your victories ain't wanted long as I'm haunted with crying these cocksucking tears. Your victories ain't wanted long as I'm haunted with crying these cocksucking tears. Go Riley. Sharing and caring isn't quite daring enough for a stiff such as you. Spread your pollen about, then you bug out when there's railing and wailing to do. How long you been thinking your shit ain't stinking? Well, mama's gonna wipe in your rear. You may need a wife, sir, but I won't spend my life, sir, crying these cocksucking tears. You may need a wife, sir, I won't spend my life, sir, crying these cocksucking tears. Go ahead, James. Perfect, you're Trump, right? Perfect. Go ahead, Al. Looks like your enjoyment went on unemployment. There you are with your rose begging due. So you lost all your magic. You think that it's tragic. No one will come cry for you. Your sexism's a broken record. Been screeching for 10,000 years. And the battle's begun, sir. I tell you I'm done, sir, crying these cocksucking tears. The battle's begun, sir. I tell you I'm all done, sir, crying these cocksucking tears. Done. D-U-N, done.
waltzed was too iffy for a psychiatrist to think was fitting. So they said, hey son, we think we should sneak you a slug, a raw manhood. The state hospital's just the place to get one. Now they call him up, we're sicky. They herd him to group therapy. They lock him up at night so he don't escape. And if they hear any gay talk, a sizzle of electroshock keeps his fantasies in fascist shape. They call it mental hygiene, but I call it psychic rape. And he won't get no restitution. He'll be dealing with the fact that all the mental institutions are backed by a pack of straight white honky quacks. They're backed by a pack of straight white honky quacks. Old Jim Jones and Tommy T were lovers to the nth degree. They had their thing together pretty good. But Tom was only 17 when his folks found out what was happening. Mama cried and Pa demanded blood. Then the news began to fester that Jim was a child molester. What jury is gonna stand for that disease? They put him in the pen. They call him Baggy Jim. How ironic that his bust was sodomy. 'Cause the prison guards use him to get their rocks off when they flee. It's not depend on an election to set him loose from that bomb round with a good dose of insurrection. We could wipe that claptrap jailhouse off the map. We could wipe that claptrap jailhouse off the map. Dan Gone Rose was kinda nuts, but Dan Gone Rose sure had guts to go cruising rednecks on a sorry night. Dan Gone Rose, he never fought, sure too bad that he forgot. Stomping queers is their God-given right. We was angry when they stabbed him. We was angry when the police grabbed him. Beat him quick with the billy stick and they told him to behave. While the doctors and nurses laughed and jabbed him. Morgue man slapped and tapped him. Now he's dead, there ain't nothing left to save. But his ghost is crying from an angry grave. It's not just told about revolution. Don't avenge me pound for pound. There's just no end to the pollution. Rise up and rip this goddamn system down. 'Cause there ain't no hope
You know, like we have James Brown, that's the godfather of soul. We have the father of gay country music. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's put a fine hand together for Patrick Haggerty and Lavender Country. 1, 2, 3.
Waking up to say hip hip hooray, I'm glad I'm gay. Can't repress my happiness ever since I tried your way.
After 40 years of making an album and putting it to bed, it's as much as dead, who gets a telephone call saying we want the rights to reproduce your album? It's like, huh?
But I'm back in the closet again. Back where I ain't got a friend.
I was happy before the phone rang, living with my husband and singing old songs to old people in nursing homes and Alzheimer's units and retirement centers. That's what I was doing.
You're an angel, sure enough. You love a man, you got the stuff. You set my hip bones grown into me more. So whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo.
What's happening with Lavender Country is new. I'm not sure exactly where all it's going. I do know there's a lot of movement around it. I've got some really good musicians working with me who love Lavender Country. We're going to be doing this show. We're definitely going to be doing Gay Pride in Seattle, and we are hoping to do some other venues. For example, we think the Hemp Fests are ready for us.
Let's not just talk about revolution. Don't avenge me pound for pound.
Whatever else comes, I'm ready to try it until I can't sing anymore.
Well, I've tried, yes, I've tried, but I haven't yet. You are mine, and I fall to pieces.
My music might outlast me. Lavender Country might be here and available when I'm gone. And my music might live. That's so moving, I just can't tell you.
Yo, come out, my dears, to Lavender Country. Yo, come out, make yourself to home.
The idea just that somebody picked up my little Lavender Country and thought that it was worth something. And that it has an opportunity to enter into the lexicon of, notable American music. I can't even talk about it. It's like over the top. That's what's important.
Your sexism's a broken record. Been screeching for 10,000 years. The battle's begun, sir, I tell you, I'm all done, sir. Crying these cocksucking tears. Thank you all for coming out. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you. Yes. Lavender Country. It's time for Lavender Country. Yeah.
If I die tomorrow. I'm fine.